Many vehicles now have a subwoofer from the factory, but unfortunately this factory subwoofer usually isn't anything special. It's not very powerful, it doesn't get low, and it doesn't sound very good. Now obviously we can add an aftermarket subwoofer in a square-shaped box, but why do that when the vehicle already has a location for a sub? We should add a subwoofer in that spot, but that spot usually has a complex shape. How can we avoid a ton of custom fab and fiberglassing? An aftermarket upgrade that has been around for years is the JL Audio line of stealth boxes. But is it really that easy to install a stealth box? What do these pre-made boxes look like on the inside? And most importantly, do they really add that much bass? Well, my dad's sound quality daily driver project that I'm currently working on is the perfect test subject for this. So let's find out. All right, so I've cut the box open. Let's see what we get inside with a JL Audio Stealth Box. So first of all, looks like we have a bag here of some different brackets and hardware along with the warranty, and I'm guessing, yep, directions. Ooh, and that's nice. They're color directions, so a little bit easier to see. It's definitely very helpful to have a set of instructions when you're removing panels from the vehicle because you want to do it right and you don't want to break anything. JL Audio does a great job of this in the instruction manual for the Stealth Box, but what about if you're installing speakers or an aftermarket head unit at other locations in the vehicle? A great resource for this that I wanted to tell you guys about is this right here. This is the master sheet from our show sponsor, Crutchfield. This is a printable PDF document that shows us exact detailed instructions for removing the different panels in order to access the head unit and the different speakers in the vehicle. When you complete a qualifying purchase for something like speakers or a head unit upgrade in your vehicle, Crutchfield will include this document for you. To learn more about the master sheet and see a special offer for car audio fabrication fans, check out the link here on screen or down in the video description. Let's get back on into unboxing the Stealth Box. Looks like we have a foam pack here. So this is a packaging material that actually uses like a two-part foam to expand once they add this into the box. This is nice because you can see it really takes shape of the enclosure and holds it in good and tight, so we don't have to worry about it being damaged in shipment. This is our Stealth Box right here, and this should be the only other thing in the box, so let me pull this out too. Wham! Here it is, the Stealth Box. So first impressions, one of the first things I always look for on a subwoofer enclosure, if it's been carpeted, is you can kind of get an idea how skilled the builder was, just based on if you can see any carpet seams. I have to be honest, whoever wrapped this thing is like next level carpet wrapper, because there are a lot of surfaces going on here, and it is really hard to find any seams. Not that it would really matter if you could see a seam, especially since this is a Stealth Box and it's hidden behind a panel, but in my mind, it's just a mark of craftsmanship. It looks like they have two threaded inserts that are integrated into the box. I'm guessing these are for the mounting hardware. There's also a couple on the top, on the back side. The subwoofer here is a JL Audio 10W1 V3, and in this case I got the 2 ohm version. You can see they have the speaker terminal here. Now I've always wanted to see the inside construction of one of these stealth enclosures, so I'm going to take out the subwoofer. So check this out, since this is a sealed enclosure, they do have some polyfill type material in here, which is great, but I love seeing this. Look at this. They actually have this insulative type material around the wires, and this is something I mentioned before in videos that's important inside a subwoofer enclosure. You don't want the wire vibrating up against the edge of the panel, and this part here isn't protected because it's so close to the subwoofer that it's held in place, but this part here of the wire could potentially vibrate against the edge of the enclosure. We don't want that. That's super cool that they have that nice insulative material around there. The baffle here is made out of fiberglass, much like the rest of the enclosure, and I would say that's about a 1/4 inch thick. In fiberglass world, a 1/4 inch thick is extremely strong, especially once you have all of these compound shapes and curves adding to the strength. And if you were curious, here's just a nice little bum shot of the 10W3. Definitely a beefy little subwoofer. I mounted the subwoofer back in place. Let's get started with the install. Now I've actually already done steps 1 through 8 on what they list here, which is basically removing the OEM panel and the OEM subwoofer enclosure that sits right here. I've done this already because I'm doing a build on this vehicle. If this is the first video of the build that you're seeing, in this build I'm also doing JL Audio C7 components, a full 3-way set. I made these custom A pillars, which have the tweeter and the 3.5 inch speaker, and I made custom custom adapters for the doors that hold the 6.5-inch woofer. If you want to see the full build of these, I'll definitely put a link for you guys at the end of this video. So the next step here is I need to attach these two upper brackets. To attach these brackets, I first take one of the 1-inch bolts and I apply a lock washer first and then a normal washer. Now I'm not going to tighten these to the box quite yet because I want them to be adjustable so that I can get them to match perfectly with the threaded studs in the vehicle later. So we now have those brackets hand tightened and attached to the back rear of the enclosure. Next I need to attach these two lower brackets, and these are going to be attached to the vehicle first. Now you will notice these are a little bit different. This one is a little bit larger and this one is smaller. I'll take the smaller one in this orientation and put it like that, and then the larger one also in that same orientation like this. To secure these, I'll be using the factory fasteners that I removed earlier to take out the OEM subwoofer enclosure. And once again, these are only hand tightened so that I can adjust them if need be. Now I need to do my first test fit of the enclosure into the vehicle, and this gives me an idea how I need to line up the brackets. Now JL Audio recommends making marks on the enclosure and on the floor in order to line up each of those brackets and know where you need to secure it in place. I now have these extremely tight on the box since they're lined up perfectly, and while the box is still out of the vehicle, I did attach the speaker wire. You can do it once the box is mounted in the vehicle, but I think it's just a little bit easier just to do it now. With this in place, I can now add these two factory fasteners back in position here on those OEM studs. The final two attachments to make are these ones right here that came with our Stealthbox. Again, we're going to do the bolt and then the lock washer and then the normal washer. And we'll go through the bracket into that threaded nut. So here we have it, the JL Audio Stealthbox completely installed here in the Equinox. We of course have to do a quick little test bump, and if you can't tell by the movement of that sub, this thing is jamming. Now I just need to get the trim installed back here in the vehicle. All right, so I had a chance to do some tuning on the digital signal processor in the amplifier, get this system fully tuned, get the subwoofer tuned, and I have to say, one, this system sounds absolutely incredible. We're definitely gonna have to get my dad's reaction. And two, even for being a sealed 10, this subwoofer absolutely jams. Let's listen to some of the bass on one of the royalty-free tracks. Definitely more than enough bass, definitely enough bass for my dad. He's gonna love it. We could definitely jam and rock out if we need to though. A substantial upgrade in comparison to the factory sub. With the subwoofer installed, it's now time to do a full system overview video and unveil this build to my dad. To catch that video and more car audio build logs, lessons, and product overview videos, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. To learn more about taking apart your vehicle with a master sheet as a guide, check out Crutchfield at the link down in the video description. And a thank you to JL Audio for being the official speaker sponsor of this build. Thank you to Lonnie, Ali, William, Marco, Steve, Emmanuel, Jerry, and the rest of the Patreon membership team. Thank you guys for watching.